Christian parenting.
Lindsey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am really excited about really this whole month. We're doing women's wellness here on the podcast, and kind of funny month to be talking about wellness because here I am fighting a cold. So everyone excuse my voice, but I did not want to miss this opportunity to chat with Lindsey. And so I am pushing through. And we are talking women's wellness from the angle of, woohoo, we're talking fitness trackers today. And it's kind of a funny topic, but if it ever comes up between me and another woman, I feel like we could just chat for a long time about this simple, what seems to be a simple topic, but there's a lot to say. So I invited my friend Lindsey, who I just adore, and you'll see why when I ask her to introduce herself, because she is kind of in this world of fitness and I think we're going to have a lot to talk about. So Lindsey, tell people who you are, what you do, and a little bit of your background.
Yes. Well, I first just want to say I knew of Monica way before she knew of me because I heard her on a podcast years ago. And the genesis of that story is I think I maybe had 2 kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, this incredible woman. She has 4 boys. I can't believe she's raising 4 boys. Yep. And you just don't know the trajectory of your life and what it will turn out to be. And here I am years later with 4 boys myself.
Love it. I feel like I do that to people. It's really weird, but
yeah,
I get to know women. They have babies and they're always boys. And I feel like it's my fault.
4 boys. They're 12, 10, 8, and 6. And I'm a podcaster, just like Monica. And I interview professional runners for my podcast. I've been doing that for 9 years. The podcast is called I'll Have Another with Lindsey Hein. And then I also MC events. So I MC races and do speaking events at race expos and things like that. I'm also a running coach, and newly I am the coach of my kids' run club at their school, which is super fun.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. Okay, so running, give us the background. How'd you end up? I mean, obviously, if you're going to podcast about running, you know a thing or two. Tell us about your background with running.
Yeah, so I started running when I was 15 in high school when my best friend pretty much twisted my arm to join the cross country team. And so that became a love affair all through high school. And then in college, I just kind of kept in shape, went to the gym and that kind of thing. But my husband and I decided to run our first marathon when we were just about to get married. We bought a house, ran a marathon, and then got married 2 months later.
Wow.
So we were like, let's just do all the things.
Yeah, young and crazy.
Yeah. So I've run 17 marathons. I've done 1 half Ironman. And I just have really fully immersed myself in the community and the culture of running and love it so much. I am in a place now. I haven't run a marathon since 2022. That was the last one I ran in New York City. And I really am in this phase now where I'm just doing a lot of different things. Like I'm still running 3 or 4 days a week, but I love to play pickleball. I love to lift weights. I love to go to spin class. So I have a wide variety of ways that I move my body. And I think it's probably like the most joyful, pressure-free way I've ever worked out where I'm at right now, which is really, really fun.
I love that so much. And I agree. I think that more and more as we hit this, you're years behind me, but especially as we hit perimenopause and menopause, I think there is more now today out there just encouraging us to be well-rounded, to lift weights, to do some of the things that I don't even remember. My mom wouldn't have thought of lifting weights when I was growing up. So I think that's really cool and going to give us probably a lot more longevity and healthier aging process. So that's super cool. Fun fact about me, if people listening may not know, I don't know where it's come up before, but I wasn't a runner. I did like team sports growing up. I was a gymnast in my early years. But when I went to college, I was just started running because I was like, well, if I'm not going to play sports, I got to do something. So I would run the track and the cross country team. I went to Pepperdine in Malibu. Poor me, right?
I don't think
Amazing.
I knew that.
Yeah. So I went to Pepperdine and I would be running the track and, Malibu, there would be like movie stars running the track. That was like where I would see all kinds of people. Madonna used to train on the track.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, I graduated in 4.5 years. I did a couple exchanges overseas. And so I graduated in 4.5 years. And it was in my last fall that the cross country coach was like, we see you all the time. We're training, you're training. Why don't you just join the team? So I ended up joining the cross country team my 5th year. And it was so much fun. It was my first experience kind of officially running competitively. And then after college, I did a couple marathons, a couple small triathlons. But my last marathon I did was after all four of my kids were born, and I did New York City as well.
Oh, you did? What
Because
year
my
was
brother,
that?
yeah, my brother was doing a fundraiser for muscular dystrophy. His son has muscular dystrophy. So I got to fly out there and do it. And that was the most amazing, like, hello, fall in New York City. That was awesome.
So
yeah, so special. But I was so dying because I was not trained for that one. So,
And it's a
whew,
hard marathon. It's hilly.
yeah, yeah.
Fun fact to add to that, I am good friends with the coach at Pepperdine now, the
Oh, you're
cross country
kidding.
and track coach, one of them, Lauren Flores. Yeah, she got that job probably like 3 or 4 years ago, but she ran for
Because
Pepperdine. Yeah,
Because
and now
the
she's
man
the
who
coach.
was the coach had been coach forever.
Yeah,
He was an
yeah,
old man when I was there, so I didn't know who the new coach was.
yeah. And I
What
don't
is
know
her
if there
name?
was someone in between the two.
Maybe, maybe.
Her name's Lauren Flores, and
Okay,
she has 3 girls, and
okay.
she's a pretty good runner herself. Like she ran for Pepperdine, she's running the Olympic trials. She actually had a podcast in my network for a while called Up and
Huh,
Running, and then she got the
cool.
Pepperdine job and was like, "I'm doing too many things."
Yeah,
So she's
yeah,
mostly focused coaching, momming. Those are her
yeah.
things now.
So interesting. Okay, I love that. Well, fun. So lots of connections in any of
Yeah,
those smaller worlds, right?
yeah.
So you're a runner at heart, but we're talking fitness trackers. And I love this because here I am. I always feel like I'm a late bloomer to just about everything, but I'm in my 50s and I never
Hmm.
really thought about this up until the last couple of years when I started hearing more and more about them. And I was like, do I need one? Do I want one? Fitness trackers, I guess if we look back, I'm not sure what started them. Do we know even like what were the first fitness trackers? Do you know?
I feel like I don't know. But I think a lot of runners though use just like a Garmin or any something like
Sure.
that to track like their heart rate and things like that.
Yes,
And now we have like Whoop. Have you had a
that's
Whoop?
right. My
Yeah.
boys all wear whoops.
Do they
That's,
really? And
yes.
they like it.
They love it. Yeah, they love the Whoop. So, for those listening, if you're not familiar, the Whoop is a band you wear on your wrist and it doesn't tell time. So, you don't look at it like a watch, but it is a band and it is connects to an app on your phone, just like anything. And it is, I feel like athletes do are a lot of runners into wearing the Whoop?
Yeah, I mean, I had one for a while there and I stopped it because I was like obsessing over sleep. And for me, that just wasn't good. Like, I'm going to try to go to bed when I can go to bed and sleep in until my body wakes me up if I can do that. But like, if I'm restless, I don't want to know about it because
Yeah,
then I get like a mental hang up on it.
yeah, yeah. Which is, I think, a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So, how long did you try that?
I probably used it for like 6 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a Garmin as well?
So I, for a long time, used a Koros watch,
Okay.
which is just another brand. It was like
Okay.
in 2018, Koros came on the market, and it was like a big push in the running industry. So I used a Koros forever, and it recently was like I had it for like 6 years, and it's just
Okay.
it's time for a new watch.
Okay.
But as I have not been running quite as like competitively and caring about my pace, I've just like I'm running naked, no watch.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Freedom. I will like look at my phone and I'll be like, oh, it's 9:15. Okay. I'm going to try to run. I'm just going to run 45 minutes. And I kind of know the different routes that get me to that time.
Sure.
It's kind of freeing. On the other hand, I think fitness trackers can be really good because they can hold you accountable and make you feel like, okay, I want to see that number, you know? So I
Right.
think there's pluses and minuses either way.
Yes, absolutely. Because what I've found is so besides the marathons I did in the early years, and that was like, 2 early on and then many years later in New York, I mostly have been a fitness instructor. So I've worked at a gym just doing classes. And then we moved out to the country and I was homeschooling and writing. So during these years, I just got lazy. If I'm not training for something, I might get on, if we had an elliptical for a while and then that broke. Now we have a Peloton, but I'll be on the Peloton, like texting,
Uh-huh.
like doing all the things. And I'm like, I'm barely moving my feet. Like you are not real. This doesn't even count. So I find that I can tend to, fall into kind of complacency and just do a workout and check it off the box and be like, good enough. but I'm really not moving the needle as far as my health and fitness goes. So I think some kind of accountability is really good for me. But I could see where if you're used to wearing them for, kind of feeling that like obligation to track everything, that it would be really freeing to not. So,
yeah, I mean, I like to write down everything I do. Like right now I'm in this phase where I'm trying to do 2 times a day, activity 2 times a day, 45 minutes at least each. And even if it's like a walk the second time.
Wow.
And I like writing that down and like checking that off.
And do you have one place where you keep it?
I have a little planner. I just have my day-to-day planner. And then I just always, and so I kind of like sketch out in my brain what I think I'm going to do for the week. And then I write down what I actually do. And I think with that second exercise, it holds me accountable to just like move my body as we get into the night. So sometimes that means I'm walking for 30 minutes after dinner, and I call it good.
I was just going to say, to just list off, since we mentioned the Whoop, things began maybe with a Garmin, the Whoop, Fitbits, and
that's
Apple
what I was
Watches.
thinking of. Yeah. Fitbit.
I mean, those are really probably plenty. But then I went ahead and got my Oura Ring this last fall. And I think I got it because I had a friend who has one and loves it. And I was like, okay, the Whoop on my wrist would bother me.
Yes.
But the Oura Ring, I feel like I can wear a ring all the time and be really comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess it was like my birthday present. And I was like, it's kind of pretty. It's kind of bulky, but it's kind of pretty. If people are watching on YouTube, you can watch.
Do you like it?
I do. Now I love it. So that's what I was just going to say is I went from nothing. Even when I had an Apple Watch, I never really used the health aspect of it. I wasn't ever on that app. But I feel like in this season of life, again, different seasons, different times, different needs. But in this season of life where I am going through the whole perimenopause, menopause, wherever I am somewhere in that, I feel like my sleep, I often would wake up and be like, I didn't sleep at all last night. But then I'm like, but did I? Maybe I slept more than I realized. And so what I love is that I can wake up and I can look at my little app and it'll tell me how much sleep I got, how much deep sleep, how much REM sleep. So for me, this is more about the sleep than the fitness. And then if it's under 7 hours, my rule is, now I'm blessed. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have to go to work somewhere unless I have a really early podcast or something. Typically, if I wake up at 6 and it shows that I've had 6.5 hours of sleep, I'll be like, go back to sleep, girl. And I'm pretty good at putting myself back to sleep. So I feel like my Oura Ring has really helped me be accountable to sleeping more. I'm going to bed. It gives me a little reminder in the evening, like, hey, you might want to get ready for bed now.
Yeah.
So I'll try to do, some journaling, a little reading, trying to get off screen. So it kind of reminds me of the healthy habits for my sleep. But when it comes to fitness, I do think what I will use it for is occasionally if I go for a run, which I'm walking a little bit more, but if I go for a run, I will tap on the little button that says track outdoor run. Oh. And for some reason, my goal is when I get back, I want to hit, there's zones, right? Okay, so now we're kind of getting into the running topic, but your heart rate, whatever you're doing, there's zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. My 25-year-old son told me, so I just trust him. He's like, Mom, you got to get into zone 4 for at least 10 minutes a few times a week. So I live on a big hill, so I'll go running. And when I come back, if I've hit 10 minutes in zone 4, I'm like, yes, mission accomplished. I don't know why, but for some reason, that's what Josiah told me I should do. And so it kind of holds up. Whereas before, I would have done like a jog. I would have walked. But now I'm like, okay, I got to go home and see if I accomplished that goal. So I think it does help in that way. And that's like maybe twice a week that I even get the heart rate up like that. So
I think he's smart. And I think the older you get, the more important that is too, because I've interviewed Dr. Stacy Sims, who does a lot of work with like women, especially as they age. I can send you links to some of those episodes. And one of the things that she says when you're run training as you get older, those intervals, those short, fast intervals are super important. Paired with lifting weights, because a lot of us grew up with that like cardio bunny mentality, like get all the cardio in. But now it's like, no, the short sprints. And I think for a long time I would think, oh my gosh, what's 10 minutes of hard work? But it's like, it's 10 minutes of hard work and you're getting your heart rate up. And
yes.
So yeah, I think your son is onto the right thing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this kind of leads me to another part of the tracking that I think is interesting. And some people listening are like probably already tuned into this and others won't care at all. So skim over it if you need to. But something I had never heard of. And okay, so I studied sports medicine at Pepperdine. I've been a fitness instructor, all the things, but heart rate variability. Are you familiar with that?
A little bit.
That was new to me.
Yeah.
So anyone listening, here's the dumbed down, simplified definition of heart rate variability. So if a healthy heart, we want a low heart rate, right? We want to fall asleep and get our heart rate low. That's a good sign of fitness, I should say.
Yes.
If you're really fit, you're going to have a low resting heart rate. However, heart rate variability is super interesting to me. It is the variance between heartbeats. So apparently, even though we want a low heart rate as we sleep, the distance between heartbeats ought to be different throughout each heartbeat. So it's kind of like the way I picture it, and I'm going to do a terrible job here, but the way someone described it was like your body wants to be ready for action. So it's like a short variance and then a longer one and then a short. It's kind of like you picture somebody that's like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm healthy. And so your heart is kind of always ready. So if you have a low heart rate variability, it's almost, they say it can be a sign that you're sick. Your heart rate variability definitely goes down as you age. So a lower one means your heart's almost protecting itself. I'm going to just stay really, really steady. Whereas when you're young, my son, who's 25, his heart rate variability is in the hundreds, 100, 110. That's really fast. That means like he's super fit.
He's ready to go.
Yes, he's ready to go, which if you look at it, I'll link in show notes to a graph, because Oura Ring has like graphs that you can look at heart rate variability. In your 20s, you're typically going to have a lot higher heart rate variability. In your 50s and beyond, there's not much you can do. They're pretty low. So if I can have my heart rate variability, literally it's in the 30s typically, which sounds terrible, but there are things you can do to slowly move the needle. And some of those things are getting your heart rate up, like we just talked about. The sprints. Supposedly ice baths, which I just don't want to do an ice bath.
I know. I
hate being cold.
I hate it.
And then things like journaling, interesting things, breath work, slowing down before you go to sleep and reading and getting off of screens. All these are seeing the sunrise or the sunset. So these are all healthy things that give you a better heart rate variability. So I don't know if all trackers show heart rate variability, but my Oura Ring does. And I kind of obsessed over that for a little bit because I was like, am I dying? My heart rate variability will be in the 20s sometimes, and that's considered really low. But I'm like, I'm healthy. I'm doing all the things. But I think menopause affects heart rate variability. That'll bring it down. When you're sick, the last couple of days, as I've been fighting a cold, it's been really low. So it's just an interesting part of tracking that you may or may not want to look into. And it may, again, cause more obsessing that's not even necessary. But it's been really interesting for me.
Know that. When you said heart rate variability, I thought you were talking about like the range that like different people might have that's considered healthy, right?
Yeah, right.
This resting, like the range of resting heart rates that's considered good. Nothing makes a runner more proud than when you go to the doctor and everybody's running in and excited about how low your resting heart rate is.
Right.
Like I'm every curious. Time I had a baby.
What's your resting heart rate?
You know what? I don't actually know what it is right now, but I feel like it would be like 40 or something.
40s. Yeah.
I remember there would be times when I'd be in the hospital having babies and they'd be like, is she okay? What's going on? She's a runner. And you're like, I'm so proud.
I love it. Yes, low heart rate is a good thing, but you want a high heart rate variability. So I'm going to link to an article.
I'm going to have to learn what mine is.
Yeah. Or don't, because what good does it do?
Over it. What am I going to do? Well, I might start sprinting more.
You might, or taking ice baths, or gratitude journaling. It's funny the things that play a role, though. I find it really interesting.
Surprising to me.
Yes.
The gratitude journaling and the sunset and sunrise.
Yes. It all somehow plays a role. And I'll link to a good article that kind of will make more sense of that. But again, if you tend towards being an obsessive person, then all of these things take with a grain of salt because they may not be very helpful to you. And again, at different seasons. I have a friend who has young children who are up in the night. And I'm like, probably not the best time to wear a tracker. You don't want to wake up and see that it's actually true that you didn't sleep all night.
No. I will say in the running side of things with wearing a watch that tracks your pace and things like that. I think it can be a really good thing because you can track like your progress and where you're going. But I always tell athletes I coach, I'm like, you cannot obsess over what the watch is telling you, because then you are like not listening to your body at all. And so if I can have you like cover that up and do your intervals based on how you feel, and then you can look at the data afterwards and say, wow, I felt like I was like a 7 out of 10 today. Did these paces surprise me? Were they faster or slower? Because if we obsess with our paces on our fitness trackers, I think it can either set us up for injury, or it can like actually limit what our expectations are of ourselves.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you might think, oh my gosh, I'm scared because I'm running this fast. I shouldn't be running this fast. And you might hold yourself back.
So true.
So you can really surprise yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle on that for those who are training for something, especially. I like that. Here's some fun facts we found. So if you're not already on this whole tracker path, according to a 2023 report, the global wearable fitness tracker market is expected to reach over 100 billion by 2028. And a study in the JAMA Internal Medicine found that people using fitness trackers, okay, here, and this is one thing I want to circle back before we wrap up, but they increase their daily steps by 1,800 on average.
Ooh, okay.
So medical studies do say 8 to 10,000 steps a day is what we should aim for, but at least 6,000 steps can show major health benefits. Now, you mentioned getting 2 workouts in a day. And, you know, my first thought might be, I lean into moderation. So I'd be like, oh, that's just a lot. Are you obsessing? But at the same time, I do think that the days that I get out for a walk or something later, especially after dinner, now we're getting into spring and summertime, so that's more doable. Wow.
It can be leisure active.
Yes. I love that. Because I do, a workout in the morning usually, but then I might sit all day long. And I think it's really good to get out and do something.
Well, let me give you an example. I went to a spin class this morning, 45 minutes. Today, after this call, I'm coaching my kids' run club. So I'm going to like jog to the school, which is like a half a mile.
Okay.
I'm going to jog with the kids and like be active with them, do some strides with them. And then I'm going to jog home. And that's my second workout. So it's
I
like,
love it.
Yeah, it's more too for me personally, because we all have our own crutches and hangups and everything. For me, it's like I've tried to cut back on the amount of alcohol I drink. And so if I am doing something active in the evening instead of drinking a glass of wine while I'm making dinner, then that it's
like setting you in a positive direction. That
I'm
almost
doing
is
two
like
things at
combats.
once.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
That's
a mental
super good.
thing too. Yeah. And I think at one point in my life, it might have been more about like the benefits of exercise with like how my body looks after I exercise so much or whatever. But now it's more of just like the lifestyle I want to have. And
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like a life of daily movement. This is what like back in the day, 100 years ago, like people didn't exercise, like they didn't pencil that into their calendar because their life was movement.
They didn't need to. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I've said that before, that often on the days I work out early in the morning, I'll just sit the rest of the day. And I'm like, that is not healthy. And one thing I love about the trackers is I have discovered, I've heard people say it before, but I don't think I believed it, that when you're just doing things around the house, on the days that I'm cleaning house, folding laundry, I actually have higher activity levels than on the days that I do a longer workout. And I'm like, it really does count. It really adds up.
Yeah.
So I've been more motivated to get up from my desk and literally just like, well, I have a walking treadmill at the desk. So I'm looking for more opportunities you can't do everything while you're walking. Some things you kind of need to sit, but looking for opportunities to either do that or after dinner, get the family out. We love to play tennis in the summertime. So we'll often do an evening tennis session and then just eat a lighter dinner or eat and then play tennis. But making it a lifestyle is so good. So.
And I like the second movement session, intentional movement session, I should say, because yes, of course, we're like vacuuming and folding laundry, doing all those things throughout the day too. I like for it to be a social thing. So like it might be a walk with my neighbor. I might be playing pickleball, the run club today. That's very social because there'll be other parent volunteers there. So like,
sure.
Yeah. It's just like incorporating it into another piece of your life that you wanted to do anyway.
Yes. And it kind of feels good when you're like, I've already worked out, so that's done.
Right.
Now I can just enjoy being active, which ideally we could just do that all day.
Yeah.
But since we are more sedentary than ever, I think getting a workout in is also a really good idea. One question that came up as I was talking to people about this was privacy concerns.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm just not one to think about that a lot, but do you
Yeah.
know with trackers, is that something that we should keep in mind?
Yeah, I mean, for the running community specifically, a lot of people use Strava, which is
My
basically
boys
like,
use that too. Yeah.
yeah, it's like social media for runners, really. Like you
Yeah.
upload all your workouts, like bike cyclists and stuff use it too. And so there is privacy concerns because like if you're, especially if you're a female and you're like going to run in the same place all the time, I have like I don't know if it's a quarter or a half mile of like from my home blocked out on my routes, like because if I run from home a lot.
Oh,
But I'm
that's smart.
also kind of like, it's 2025. If
Yeah.
someone really
Wants to
wants
find
to
you.
find you, they will. Like you can find anybody's address, but I do think it's smart to be aware of those things. And like if I was like running the same greenway every day, you know, that's
Yeah.
a little bit. You don't want to
Sure.
be that predictable. And I have heard some really scary stories, and it stinks that we have to live in
It
a
does.
world like that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest safety precaution you can take is not having your headphones on in
Yeah.
areas where you feel like,
Yeah.
like if I'm on a greenway and there aren't people around, ain't no way I'm wearing a headphone. Like I'm like on guard.
Right.
It just is
Yeah.
what it is.
It's true. It's true. You mentioned Strava. Do you use Strava?
Well, I was like hardcore Strava for a long time, and then my watch broke, and I haven't been on in a long time. I think I would like to get back on, though. I mean, I used it for over 10 years. I've used
Yeah.
it forever.
Yeah.
But I've been pitching watch sponsors, and I'm like, let me get a watch sponsor before I
Ooh.
go buy a watch. And
No kidding.
hasn't
Yeah.
panned out though, so I should probably just buy one.
That happens. Well, yeah, I've never used Strava, but my boys love it. And again, like she mentioned, it's a social media app basically, but it's where you can kind of connect with other people and see their workouts and let them see yours. And I know that most trackers also have a social element. There's circles with Oura Rings. And I just gave my husband an Oura Ring for his birthday because I do think he doesn't sleep enough. And so I was like, we can be in a circle and then we can, you know, how husbands and wives often compete over who had the worst night's sleep, you know.
Oh,
like,
yes,
well,
yes.
I didn't sleep last night. Well, I really didn't sleep. I'm like,
Yes,
now we'll
totally.
know.
Totally.
No
Although,
debating.
We do not have that in my house. Like my husband sleeps like a log, and when he falls asleep, he's asleep for the night. Like it's one of those gifts that
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, I've just
Good for him.
I'll
Hope he
always
enjoys.
be jealous of it. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay. Well, I think we covered a lot. And I would encourage, I mean, just in closing, if someone listening out there has never used a tracker, what would you say, Lindsey? Let's go with that. What would you say are some reasons why should someone get one? And maybe then why would you say who is the person who maybe shouldn't?
Well, I think accountability is like the number one reason. Like if you need to hold yourself accountable, that's such a great reason. It's like the step thing, like not to obsess over it, but like if you want to get 10,000 a day and your watch is telling you you're at 6, you're going to go for a walk after your dinner, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's a good, if you need the accountability, that's a lot of reasons why people hire running coaches and things like that. It's like they want that accountability. And if you do that, you should get a buddy to hold each other accountable. I would say if you can do it without that, and you're someone who, if you have it, you'll get hung up on it and obsess over it, maybe skip it. I don't think it can be a bad thing, though. I mean, it probably just depends on where you are in your fitness journey, right?
Right.
Like, are you new to it? Are you trying to excel? Are you trying to like level up and get a little bit more dedicated to it? Then go for it. But
Right. No, that's good.
yeah.
That's good. The other thing with the Oura Ring, I'm not sure if anything else does this, but if you are trying to get pregnant or in that season of life, it does track that. It has like
That's
a
wild.
whole,
Like your
women's.
ovulation?
Yes. So temperature, I know that when I was fighting a cold, I woke up in the morning and it said like, might want to take it easy today. It looks like your heart temperature was elevated. And so it uses that to really help women track their cycle and figure out ovulation. So that's another little benefit if you're in that season of life.
A little natural family planning there.
Yeah, that would have been handy a few years ago. Well, such good stuff. And I'll put a bunch of links over in show notes, the things that we've mentioned and the different trackers. And I would would love to hear from people. So everyone, I'm encouraging you to go to show notes, leave a comment, tell us what tracker you use, or if you've used one and you hated it, or whatever. Let's have a good conversation over there. And Lindsey, where can people, you mentioned your podcast, but where can people follow you and learn more about running from you?
Yes, I am on Instagram, Lindsey Hein 626. I would love to connect with anybody over there. And yeah, I am also curious what people think about this topic. My website is lindseyhein.com. And yeah, the podcast is I'll Have Another with Lindsey Hein.
Real quick, can we hear the story behind that title? Because I've never known it.
Yeah. Well, I just couldn't think of a title. And when I started the show, I was like, I'm just going to interview runners or, mom friends. My sister actually thought of the title. It's like, I'll have another. It can be whatever you want another of, like another marathon, another mile. At the time, I was pregnant with my third baby. So it was like another baby.
Love it.
Yeah. So she's like, I'll have another. Yeah.
You have the best. And I know you're not actively podcasting, but you did have a parenting podcast.
Oh, yes.
And that title was the best ever. So tell us what that was.
Yeah. So that's how I first reached out to Monica, because she was a guest on this podcast. It was called Why Is Everyone Yelling? And I mean, I think actually the same sister named this one.
Okay. She's good.
Yeah, she's good. And the reason I quit that about, I guess it was almost a year ago now, is I wasn't seeing the growth that I wanted to see. I was hoping to grow it the same as I'll Have Another. And I just felt like I had too many plates going. And so I had to give that up. So now I'm hosting different series on the running podcast that I maybe would have, like I had a conversation with Monica and her son Luke, the professional surfer, on I'll Have Another podcast, the running one, about raising athletes and from the athlete's perspective and the mom's perspective. So
that was so fun. I'll link to that as well.
Yeah, there's more of a home there. Yeah, but yeah, I kind of missed that show. If y'all want to go check it out,
it's still there.
Still a lot of interviews over there. They're just not new and active.
Yeah. I'll link to all of those things and your website. So thank you so much for being with us. This was a really fun conversation.
Thank you, Monica.
You take care. We'll have you back, I'm sure.
Yay.
Christian parenting.